Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We were discussing in the previous class the one of the most important functions of the government, that was resolving the conflict. And in this regard, we have studied that it is natural to arise conflict between people because so many different people are living together, people belonging to different religion, people belonging to different language, different culture are living together. So it is very natural that conflicts will be there. But what is important that these conflicts should be resolved in a peaceful manner and it should not take a violent turn. And in this regard, we have discussed about the religious procession, how many times the police has to make arrangement for the peaceful religious procession can take place. So, and many times some violence may erupt in this kind of religious procession because in our country, people belonging to different religions are living together. So, there may arise a problem. And then one more conflict we have discussed, and that was regarding the uh, distribution of water, distribution of river water between two or more states. It is also one of the most important reason of conflict between states. This conflict is arising between states. Okay, so conflict may arise between people. It may arise between groups of people. It may arise between different states. And when we are talking about the conflict which is arising because of sharing of river water, this conflict is there between the two or more states. And in this regard, we have saw the example of Kaveri water dispute, which is there between the state of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And we have seen that the Karnataka is in the upstream and Tamil Nadu is in the downstream. So what happens? Both the states have constructed dam on the river. Okay, but what happens that Karnataka is in the upstream, so it take advantage of its position, and Tamil Nadu will be able to get water only if it is released from uh, Karnataka. So both the states are in very much need of this river water because of in order to satisfy the irrigation needs of the people, in order to satisfy the all other household needs of the people, water is required but by both the state. But there is problem because of water is being used, water is being obstructed. The flow of water is obstructed by Karnataka at the dam, which is a Krishna Raja Sagar Dam. Okay, and this is the reason Tamil Nadu is not able to get required water, and this is the cause of conflict between the two states. So we saw that this conflict, in this conflict, the central government has to interfere, and with the interference of the central government, actually the the conflict between the two states went in Supreme Court also, and with the judgment of the Supreme Court, now it has been uh, resolved peacefully. Now we will see what is written in the box. In the box it is written, the Indian Constitution lays down the basic rules or laws that have to be followed by everyone. Okay, in our constitution, some rules and some laws are written, and whoever is living in India, they will all have to follow the rule. Okay, these rules which are written in the constitution. These laws are for both the government and the people. The government is also bound to follow the rules and laws. The government is not above the laws. The government is, it is expected from the government. It is bound compulsory for the government. It is compulsory for the government to follow the rules, as well as people. People should also follow the rules. Okay, so conflicts and differences have to be resolved according to these laws. If there is conflict between two people, or between two communities, or between two states, then all these conflicts, all these differences should be resolved according to the rules of the constitution, according to the laws of the constitution. Okay, so when we follow the laws of the constitution, when the government follows the laws of the constitution, what happens that it can be resolved, conflicts can be resolved in a peaceful manner. So it is very much important to follow the laws of the government, not only for the people but also for the government. This is the picture of Kaveri water. Okay, so quiet flows the river Kaveri, despite being at the center of heated conflict between two states for the last 30 years. So, Kaveri water, distribution of Kaveri water is the main cause of conflict between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, and this conflict causes a lot of heat, a lot of problem between the two states. But here we can see that the river is flowing in a very peaceful manner. So we also need to resolve the conflict in a peaceful manner. Okay. Now there is another segment, and that is equality and justice. So this is one of the key idea of democratic government. Okay, equality and justice, because democracy is based on the principle of equality and justice. And moreover, what is important for you, that equality and justice are inseparable. We cannot separate equality from justice. If there is no equality in the society, then there cannot be justice in the society. So if we want that justice should be there, then equality will be required. So both of them are inseparable. We cannot separate equality from justice, or we cannot separate justice from equality. Okay, so in this regard, we can go through this question also. In Maya's story, did the government support the idea that people are equal? No. We have seen the story, we have read the story of Maya, and in that story, we found that the government was following the idea of inequality, because the government was discriminating between people. The government was separating people on the basis of their races. So this was totally against the idea of equality, because that government was not a democratic government. Okay, and then in second question is, in Dr. Ambedkar's story, did the practice of untouchability support the idea that people are equal? In the earlier chapter, in the previous chapter, we have discussed about the story of Dr. Ambedkar. I have there was a discussion of this story again in the context of democratic ideas. I have discussed the story again, and here again the story has come in our discussion, because that is a very it express the feeling of the people who were treated uh, in an untouchable manner, who were treated, who were considered as untouchable. So that story of Dr. Ambedkar expressed the feelings, how the people who were treated unequally, how the people who were considered untouchable, they felt. So, and in that story, we have seen that Dr. Ambedkar, who was at that time 9 years old, he was not able to go to his father's place, though he has money, and he with his cousin and he was with his cousins, and he was ready. They were ready to pay double the rent to the cart owners. Still, no cartman were ready to no cartman was ready to give them a place in their cart because they belong to untouchable community. So in this story also we find that the this practice of untouchability was completely against the idea of equality. So, at that time, India was under the British rule, and in India also democratic government was not there. That is the reason this kind of inequality was existing in society. If India in present India, what we find that India is a democratic country, and in our constitution, equality has been adopted as a principal idea of the government. So, what happens in today's world? This kind of inequality is not existing in today's India. This kind of inequality is not existing. So, now we come back to this. The earlier practice of untouchability is now banned by law. Our constitution has banned this practice. Now, no one can practice untouchability in public, and if someone does that, then he can be punished for this. He can be sent to jail also. So, this practice of untouchability has been banned by our constitution. Okay, so this group of people were denied education, transport, or medical facilities, and even the chance to offer prayers. So we know that these untouchables, uh, who were considered the lower caste, lowest caste of the society. These people were untouchables. People considered them untouchables, and because of this, people belonging to this community, people belonging to these caste, were not able to get education because they were not allowed entry in the schools. They were not allowed to sit with other students in the classroom. Okay, and they were not allowed to use public transport. They were not allowed to go to hospitals also. Any public place was unreachable for them. They cannot enter any public place, be it school, be it public transport, or hospitals, or temple. They were not allowed to worship the god also. So this was the condition of the um, of a particular caste, people belonging to a particular caste. So it was very unjust situation which was prevailing in our country before independence. Okay, Dr. Ambedkar, whom you have read about earlier in this book, and many others like him realized that such practices must not continue, and that justice can only be achieved when people are treated equally. So, the story about Dr. Ambedkar was there in the previous chapter, and Dr. Ambedkar, I told you that he was a very great intellectual person, and at that time he achieved many scholarship awards, and he went abroad for higher studies, and he was a great academician. And after returning from uh, the foreign country, he started many movements. Temple movements was one among them. He was committed for the upliftment of the people who were considered untouchables, and for that he organized many movements, and he also make a new organization, a new party was organized by him, and ultimately we find that he became one of the prominent members of Constituent Assembly, and he was the mm, chairman of the drafting committee also, and he played a very prominent role in the writing of the Indian Constitution, and that is the reason he is considered as the father of Indian Constitution. So In this way, we can see that Dr. Ambedkar, he was not alone. With him, there were many leaders who were like-minded, who thought in the same direction. Our the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was also of the same opinion. He was also very much concerned for uplifting the condition of the untouchables, and he has given a new name to these untouchables, and that name was Harijan, the people of God. ओके हरिजन हरि कौन होते हैं भगवान भगवान के जन है वो ये नाम महात्मा गांधी ने दिया था तो वी हैव सो मेनी लीडर्स who were committed to improve the condition who were committed to eradicate all these types of social problems in our society and with their effort only our constitution adopted so many provisions our constitution has made so many laws and rules uh, which is aimed at improving the condition of these untouchable groups. Okay, so the government also recognizes this and makes special provision for groups within society that are unequal. For instance, in our society, there is a general tendency to value and care for the boy child more than a girl child. Now, we see that it's not only that only the untouchables are treated unequally in our society before independence. Mm, there is another form of inequality is still existing in our society. What we find that still today in our society, a girl child is given less value she is considered less valuable than a boy child. So, this is the normal tendency of our society. So, this is also a type of inequality which is existing in our country. People discriminate between their children on the basis of gender. They give more facilities, they give more value, they give more care to the boy child if we compare all these things with the girl child. So our government is making effort to remove all this kind of inequalities that is existing in our society. Okay, and but society is still existing this and the government is committed to bring uh, equality in all aspects there should not be any discrimination on the basis of uh, caste. There should not be any discrimination on the basis of religion. There should not be any discrimination on the basis of gender and this gender inequality. In order to remove this gender inequality, the government has made many provisions. Okay, so that the girls can overcome the injustice that they are subjected to. The government has made many provisions like in the previous chapter, in the following chapter, you will know about a new law has been made by the government, and according to this law, the girl or the woman also has uh, the women also have the right in the ancestral property. Okay, पहले क्या होता था जो भी हमारे ancestral property होते हैं उस पे जो women होती हैं जो daughters होती हैं we can say daughters yes daughters जो होती हैं उनकी rights नहीं होते थे उस पे ancestral property जो है वो सन को मिलता था बट गवर्नमेंट ने इसमें चेंज लाया 2005 में ओके और अब क्या हो गया अब सन और डॉटर दोनों का ही इक्वल राइट है एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी में जो भी एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी मींस जो हमारे पूर्वजों की प्रॉपर्टी है जैसे हमारे घर मकान जमीन अब इनको क्या हो गया कि जो भी एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी है दैट शुड बी डिवाइडेड अमंग daughters and sons. तो ये चीजें क्या है? Why the government is doing this? Why the government is bringing such laws? So that there should be no discrimination on the basis of gender, so that people give equal treatment to the girl child and the boy child. Okay, so in this context, the government steps in to promote justice by providing special provisions that can enable girls to overcome the injustice that they are subjected to. जो भी when there is unequal treatment is done to somebody, then what happens? Then justice is not there. So if there is a injustice, if there is a inequality, okay, if the people are behaving treating unequally, then there will be injustice. So in order to promote justice, the government has made so many special provisions. Thus it is possible that fees for girls might be waived or lowered in government colleges or schools. So it is also one of the most important aspect, that fees of the girls शुड बी वेव्ड और लोअर्ड, या तो पूरी तरह से फीस को खत्म कर दिया जाए, या फिर अगर गर्ल चाइल्ड को पढ़ाया जा रहा है इन अ कॉलेज और इन अ स्कूल, देन उनकी फीस को कम कर दिया जाए. व्हाई दिस? हाउ दिस विल हैपन? हाउ दिस विल हेल्प in bringing gender equality? Because what happens that many times parents don't send their daughters to the schools because they don't want to spend money on their daughter. Okay, so अब गवर्नमेंट ने अगर उनकी फीस को ही पूरी तरह से खत्म कर दिया या फिर उनकी फीस को कम कर दिया, then what will happen? People will not stop girls from going to schools. Okay, people will send their daughters to schools and colleges क्योंकि उनको फीस नहीं लग रही है, तो they can send. तो इससे क्या होगा कि gender equality आएगी, the condition of the women will be improved. So this is the these are the various laws, these are the various rules that can be made by the government for the improvement of the condition of the women or girls in the society. Okay, so can you think of any experience from your life in which you have helped someone out of a situation which you thought was unfair? Did everyone else see it the same way? What did you have to say to convince others that what you did was fair? So many times it happens that in our surroundings, many unequal treatment is being given to people, and we are witnessing it. Okay, but we don't say anything. Mostly, what happens that we don't say anything against this kind of treatment, but it is our duty. We must raise our voice against such unequal treatment, against such injustice, if we are seeing it in our surroundings. अगर हम अपने आसपास इस तरह के unfair treatment को देख रहे हैं, तो we should not just कि इसको होने दो, छोड़ दो. नो, वी मस्ट रेज आवर वॉइस. हमें उस इनजस्टिस को रोकना हमारा कर्तव्य है. It is the duty of the people to stop that injustice. Okay, and but this is not an easy task because there is people who will oppose you. So at this age you can't do all these things, but you must have a thinking in that direction. You must have an idea of equality. You must know what is wrong, what is bad, what is equal treatment, what is unequal treatment. If someone is treating someone unequally, then what is the reason behind it? These are a must because society is cannot be changed by the laws. Okay, society हमसे बदलती है जब हमारी सोच बदलती है. और कैसे हमारी सोच बदलेगी? जब हम चीज़ों को समझने की कोशिश करेंगे, जानने की कोशिश करेंगे, तो धीरे-धीरे हमें समझ में आएगा कि कोई if something some injustice is going on, then what is the reason behind it and how it should be removed. So this is the duty of a citizen in a democratic country. अगर हम एक डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री में रह रहे हैं तो ये हमारा ड्यूटी है, इट इज आवर ड्यूटी कि हम इस तरह के इनजस्टिस के अगेंस्ट हम अपने आप को तैयार करें. ओके, सो नाउ वी हैव कंप्लीटेड दिस चैप्टर and now we have some questions. Okay, so first question is, how would Maya's life be different in South Africa today? So we have seen the Maya. We have heard the story of. We have read the story of Maya, and in that story, what we find that at that time there was discrimination on the basis of races. People belonging to different races were treated separately, है ना? But at that time there was no democracy. That is the reason this kind of injustice was prevailing in South Africa. Okay, but after 1994, on 26th April 1994, South Africa became an independent country, and uh, after becoming independent, it adopted democratic constitution, and under this democratic constitution, a democratic government was set up there, and now there is complete equality. Okay, so in today's South Africa, Maya's life will be completely different because now there is no discrimination on the basis of races. Everyone is treated equally by the government. There is no separate school, there is no separate hospitals, there is no separate ambulances, there is no separate bus services for people belonging to different races. So, in today's South Africa, there is complete equality. So, Maya's life would be completely different what her life was in the colonial rule in South Africa. Okay, so now the second question, what are the various ways in which people participate in the process of election? So we have seen in the chapter the first and the most important way through which um, we can participate in the process of election is it is by exercising our right to vote. Okay, the participation is done. First important way of participation is uh, by giving our vote in election. Okay, through voting in election, people elects through voting in elections, people elect leaders to represent them. Okay, so this is the most important way of participation. Other than this, there are other ways of participation also. Uh, what are the other ways? In other ways, you can see people participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it. This is also one of the ways of participating, how people participate. Okay, so first is through elections. By exercising our right to vote, we participate in the government, and the second is by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. Okay, now the third one is, this is the there are many ways in which people express their views and make government there are many ways in which people express their views, and then you can switch to this line. These include dharnas, rallies, strike, signature campaign, etc. So these are another ways to of participation. Okay, then this is your third point. Okay, and then fourth point is newspaper, magazines, and TV also play a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities. So these are the 4 points which must be there in your answer. Okay, now we will see another question. Why do you think we need the government to find solution to many disputes or conflicts? Disputes and conflicts will be there, and it is the responsibility of the government to resolve this conflict, because the government is the representative of all the people who are living in all parts of the country. So government is not belonging to any one group or one community or one region. Okay, the government is belonging to all the people, and it is expected from the government. It is the duty, not expected, but it is the duty of the government to follow the rules of the constitution. And if the government follows the rules of the government, then the conflicts will be resolved in a peaceful manner. So in order to resolve the solution the conflicts in a peaceful manner, the government must find solutions. Okay, so what actions does the government take to ensure that all people are treated equally? And the government can ensure that the constitutional provisions, whatever constitutional laws and rules are implied in the country, people are following the constitutional laws and rules. Okay, it makes laws and enforces them to abolish all sorts of discrimination. Government, first of all, government ensure that all people follow the rules of the constitution. Then government make many new laws, and in order to bring equality in the society. Okay, uh, so these are the two in this. In the second one, you can give the example of that government does so many. Government makes so many new laws for promoting justice towards the girl child. Okay. Then the fifth question is read through the chapter and discuss some of the key ideas of a democratic government. Make a list, for example, all people are equal. So the key ideas are, what are the key elements? We can say it. It is very important question. Key elements are all people are equal. The first key element is this. Then we can say justice to all. Then opportunities for all for opportunities for equal education. Okay, abolition of discrimination, equal status to all religion, then abolition of untouchability, then right to vote to all the people. Okay, then right to freedom of expressions. All these answers I will give you in the snap work. Okay, do your homework through snap work, then it will be clear to you. Okay.